take a load off and grab a seat. Pull up a chair, prop up your feet, that's fine by me. Fine by me. Yeah, it's podcast time.
My name's Wes
I
Josh.
mean, we got Travis TCAT Utley back with us. I think I'm the only
TCAT.
person that calls
What's
him
going on,
TCAT.
boys? No, it's fine. I love it.
We've also got Nick Cook, the newly married on
Newly married.
on
He is newly
what do you
married.
call that? Honeymoon? And
He's a newlywed. He's on his honeymoon.
right here.
This is Nick Cook from the Fine by Me podcast, reporting live from La Fortuna, Costa Rica. It's election night. Things are getting crazy here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to transmit or not. I hope you boys are doing good. It's not looking good out there. It's not looking fine by me.
Thanks, Nick, for that. Appreciate it. Coming in while he's on his honeymoon.
Glad to
We
see
all
him
been
still
doing this
alive.
past week.
Real quick, I like how Nick told us last week, like he made a point and was so adamant about him turning off his text messages and not to text all this stuff. But he's just been showing up with random videos and text message feeds all week.
Oh, has he texted you too, Tut?
I've seen a bunch of different things, yeah.
Yeah,
Ran a
just
couple
random
different things
videos.
together, so yeah.
He's sent a few things to like the us three Fine by Me chat because we were like, hey, we're not gonna use this chat much because I don't want Mint
Yeah.
Mobile to get upset.
Yeah, he only had like 200 text messages, and we would have burned through those in 12 hours.
True. Now this is going to come out on Thursday, so
Yes.
can y'all believe that he/she won the election in such close or landslide fashion?
I don't think
cannot-
we know yet.
You know
Well,
what?
you can edit that however you want to.
It was the most contested election I've ever seen. I don't even know if we know who the winner is right now.
I
It's
think
only
we'll be
2
waiting
days
till
past. So
I think we'll be waiting till at least Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I'm assuming.
So hold
It's a
on.
while.
So I don't know if I'm a doomer or I'm a realist or what title to put on myself, but who do y'all think in your heart of hearts who is going to win this election?
Kamala. That's what
You know,
I
I
think.
want to win, and I know
You don't
I
have to
think
say
so.
that.
We know who you want to win.
I actually think Trump's going to win, but I think that it's not going to go the route that it would normally take to make it happen.
I'll
I'll tell you why I think Kamala
I do
wins.
think she's going to win.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I honestly don't have a reason for this. But I try to stay active. I'm active on Twitter. I'm active on Reddit. I'm active on a lot of different things. If you're on Twitter, it's heavy red. If you're on, it's heavy red, but if you go to Reddit, it's like this nonsense heavy blue but they like mix in like this conspiracy theories of things that are going to happen if Trump wins. Like, yeah,
Both sides are really trying to
it's
lean
so
on
wild.
Trump.
It's so wild to see the things that they make up on Reddit. Like, they're pretty confident that if he wins, there's going to be concentration camps for homeless people. There's going to be concentration camps for Jewish people.
What about for one-legged people?
What's that?
I think we're safe.
One-legged?
I think I'm safe. Yeah, I mean, my hair is pretty curly when it's long, but
I think Josh is safe too.
Yeah, I'm pretty safe. Unless they start getting the cripples, then I'm done. You know, in Nazi Germany, you know, they had they have won, there's a show called Man in the High Castle.
Yeah.
And it portrays like if the Axis powers had won, and it's like every Thursday or something, they burn all the invalids, like the disabled people and people that are like, you know, have mental problems. They all throw them in an oven and get rid of them.
God, that would be. Do you know how much the percentage of this country that would get thrown in an oven? I think it's like
Yeah.
60 or 65% of our of Gen Z. I think it's Gen Z. I don't know if it's of millennials or not, but if it's of Gen Z that's on like some kind of SSRI or
Yeah, it's a lot.
I mean, that would be. I think that they would probably consider that a mental disorder, and they would just be like, "All right,
I think I think that the overall view was if you weren't contributing to the society, then you were useless. You were costing them, then you were helping them. So
Right.
that's
they
kind of
would
true."
just, you know, I don't know. I know that both sides have spread a big fear rhetoric either way. It's not a lot of hope either
Yeah.
side. They're like, what good are we going to do? No, we're just going to tell you what bad's going to happen if I don't win. I
Yeah,
don't think that's
Right.
ever good.
yeah, and the people that, especially whenever they really think that I'm trying to go down some kind of red rabbit hole, I'm like, I really don't think that things are gonna. I don't. I don't know that they can change enough to fix these last 4 years, or not the 4 years mainly, but like from COVID. I don't know if there's anything that can fix that. I don't think that there's one person that can make that better.
You remember when everybody was bitching about supply chains and like now everything's just super expensive? We got all this stuff and now you can't afford it. You get as much as you want, you just can't buy
Dude,
it. Man.
and being in the car industry, or auto industry, whatever you want to call it, they don't make cars to like last anymore, which is
No,
a
5 years.
real old man thing to say, but
Well,
like you've got like these Kia Optimas, Kia Souls, etc., and then they've got this one piece in them. Say it's their touchscreen that's in the front. No matter what, that touchscreen is probably still going to be worth about $3,000 to $4,000 in a few years. The car's not going to be
but
worth that in that amount of time, and it's going to total just based on one thing. Same with the
Right.
engine. The engine's going to be worth four thousand
well, I
dollars.
can.
Eh,
You're on one end. You're on one end of that industry, and I'm on the other, right? So, um, I can tell you that the average age of a car in America is somewhere around 20 years. So, I don't. I think the newer cars don't last as long. There are people out there holding on to the older stuff that doesn't have all that technology in it, for sure.
oh yeah,
Buy you a Toyota, man.
no, I don't doubt it. I bet that there are some smart people. I'm not one of them because I wasn't hip to this stuff whenever I
Yeah.
bought my last vehicle. But yeah, there's definitely people that have probably geared for this. They're probably all boomers, is the
Mhm.
problem, and they're about to pass away, unfortunately, or will pass away in the next 20 years or so. Um,
They're on their way out, but aren't we
yeah,
all? You know,
yeah, I don't wish them dead by any means.
act accordingly
My
is all I
parents
got.
are boomers. I
I
want
was,
them to live forever, to be honest. But
yeah, I was
realistically,
watching a I was watching a video yesterday about the new Cadillac Escalade, and it's literally an LCD screen from one side all the way to the other.
It's
The
badass
whole
though,
front
man.
dashboard. It is nice. I mean, massaging chairs, and it's got one all the way across the dashboard, and then it's got one down in the console to do the heated seats and the air conditioning and stuff. That that's going to be. I look at it like replacing that if it breaks is going to be unbelievably expensive. You know, 20 years from now, when some kid gets that thing and wants to put 30-inch wheels on it and a system in it, that's going to be stupid hard to do. You know, all that
yeah,
stuff.
that
That's what
that
I
is a
look
big
at.
thing. Like, I wonder where this like audio culture, like the audiophile
Hmm.
culture, goes with cars and whatnot. Because you can't. I mean, even cars starting in like the 20 late
Yeah.
2020, like 20 or 20 teens, I guess is what you would call them. Like those, you can't
Most of
listen
those
to
ones
them.
that have those head units like that, they splice into they have either a sub already in there or they splice into the base components, the wires, and bring it off to the amp and then isolate the lows for
Mhm.
any kind of bass.
Yeah, they built a
Yeah, I mean,
separate
like
panel for them, pretty much.
I've wrote and looked at the I've never done it because I'm not a mechanic, but I've looked at the procedures as far as like replacing main wiring harnesses on cars. And like especially a lot of the newer ones, they link in that head
Hmm.
unit, and there's no
Yep.
way to get around that. Like it's the
Mhm.
main wiring harness that it's linked into.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
So
been big in
I
the
don't give
audio
a
space
shit.
for a while. So
Yeah, I really don't care about that culture, but there are people that find happiness in that, and it's going to go away.
oh, I do.
Yeah,
I
I
do.
mean that's fine.
A 10 I got a 10-inch L7 square sub in my single cab truck that is super loud.
Hell yeah.
Beat the block
That's
down,
dope.
boys.
What's up?
I think it's cool. It's just not something that ever interested me. I
I
don't
used
want
to
to
have a
own it.
little 1994 Ford Probe GT that had two 12s in it, and it's all that car. You couldn't even sit inside of it, man. It was like a little aquarium. Just boom, boom, boom.
In, two, in 2005, I had a '01 extended cab S10 that had a 12 in the extended cab part of it. It was an audio bond. When I
Yeah,
turned it up, I used to, you couldn't light a cigarette inside there because it'd blow the lighter out and you had to turn
that's
the radio
awesome,
down.
man. You see like the windshield wiper blades bouncing off the
Yeah.
windshield.
It was one
Yes,
speaker. It was one speaker there. You'd have
those
to
little
turn it
S10s,
down to like,
man. They're like a little chamber, man, like a little sound chamber.
yeah.
I had my first car, the only thing that yeah, I think it's the only thing I put a sub in. I had two Alpine 12s and a Dodge Avenger, a 1995 Dodge Avenger, and if I turned it all the way up, my car would shut off.
Here we go. Here.
The
You got to get you a
I had like
lightning
an 1100
capacitor.
watt
You're just
amp
pulling
or
too much
something in
load.
there, but what'd you say?
You're pulling too much load.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was a
New
kid. I was
capacitor.
16 years old. I had no clue what I was fucking
You know what they call like lightning caps or something you could get
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put them in between the battery and the alternator.
I do not. So in my newest job, you have those cables that go between your amp and your battery, and a lot of companies sell those little caps that have this big ass
Hmm.
fuse on it. I
Yep.
do not recommend those. I have every time there's somebody that's into audio, the fire has started right there
Started right there, I'm sure.
every single time. And because they put the battery real close to the brake fluid a lot, and brake fluid's very flammable. Yeah, there's really no reason to have that. Josh, what you
What
been
up?
up to this week?
Man,
Anything
birthday
crazy
stuff.
happening?
Huh?
I didn't know we were going to be talking about audio file stuff.
Hey man, I've just been listening, dude. I don't have nothing other than my Ford
What'd
Pro
you turn?
GT.
What'd you turn? 32?
36.
Man.
Man,
I woke up feeling wise in my old age. Normally I'd be worried. Well, last year I went through a really bad like mental breakdown. So I
it
feel like
started this podcast.
yeah, I started this podcast and I'm healed. I'm healed, guys. I recommend it.
You got
But
a
I don't
place
know.
to vent.
I just it's I'm trying to take it's pretty cool getting older too, really. I think it's a good thing.
Um,
Love
I'm
that for you.
42, and so I'm a little ways ahead of you, and it doesn't get any easier. I can tell you that.
No.
But it is nice seeing my kids get older
Yeah, I
and
think that
them
and
accomplishing
also
things.
I think
So,
if you just sit back and look, you can appreciate how dumb you were in your early 20s or, whenever you thought you
oh
didn't
well,
you don't know nothing when you're in your 20s. You really
it,
don't.
it's it's funny to look back and see the path to get me what I had to go through to get to where I am today.
Yeah.
So years go on, and that story that you know I believe in God that He's pushed me that direction for a reason. Uh, how that path has turned out. So
I've gotten
it's got
really big into meditating and stuff. Like every morning, I try to like read like a passage, whether it be from like something like philosophy or like religion
yep,
or whatever, and then I just try to like think about that throughout the day when I'm doing something. Like that person has been there before. Like you're not the only person going through a certain thing or whatever. So I just look at it as like if they did it,
yep.
I can do it or whatever. Millions of people have done that to get to where I'm at now. So what's the big deal about this little thing that's no big deal at all?
I can tell you, getting older, I wake up earlier, and this time change that happened on Sunday.
Man, I've been
It screws me up,
struggling.
man. It feels like midnight right now. I know it.
We got home earlier. It was like probably 4:15 or something. I come in and I asked Christy, I said, "Are you gonna go back outside any?" And she's like, "No." I said, "I'm gonna go ahead and lock up." And like it's like it was like
Right, getting
almost
dark.
dark outside. I looked down at my watch, it was like 4:22. I said, "Oh God." I said, it's gonna be a
I hate
long
it.
winter.
I hate it.
Man, from the only dude here without kids, which is every podcast we do, I didn't know that time changed until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday.
How does
Yeah.
that happen?
I don't. I mean, like, what do I have to
He ain't got
keep
nowhere to
time
be.
on? I have nothing to keep time on.
Yesterday was my birthday. It's like my kids, like my little girl, she was like, "Daddy, you get a whole extra hour for your birthday." And I was like, "That's
That's
true.
nice.
I get 25 hours. I think we can stay up to 2 o'clock and watch it roll back to 1." She was passed
Nice.
out, I didn't even make it till then. And my phone was dead. It's like I woke up at like 4 in the morning. I didn't know what time it was. It was dark and I couldn't see nothing. And my phone was dead. I was like, "What time is it?" I was so worried about the time. And then Wes is just at his house, not just doesn't care, just out there living his life. He don't even worry about time. Got more watches than
You
anybody I know, and don't keep up with
you
time.
said that. You said that in a text message, and the whole time I'm like, how do you go all day long and not go, we were supposed to roll our clocks back.
Yeah, they
No,
just went everywhere.
because I don't. What do you mean? Like, I had no. I have
You
no.
even laughed at a meme I made that was specifically talking about time change. Like I was like, man, he laughed at this last night. And
I honestly don't.
now.
I honestly don't doubt that. But like, I had no
I don't know how
reason
your
to care
memory is though,
about
too.
on Saturdays and Sundays, unless I have like somewhere to be or like a meeting with y'all or something like that. Like, time has no bearing on what I'm doing. Like, I just can. Hey, so I'm single. I don't have any kids. I can just do whatever the fuck I want all the time.
It doesn't matter if it's 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock.
That's right. It don't make a damn. He's still doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
Cranking hog and playing Dungeons and Dragons
I don't even
at
know.
the same time.
I mean, I'm sure what y'all are doing is much more fulfilling, but
I don't most of the time probably. Depends on if you're doing what I
I
just
don't know
did.
about that.
but yeah, I
Hey, we
thought that
never
was
did.
wild, but
I don't want to miss this because we are considered a comedy podcast by genre. But last week, because we had Christy as the guest, we never got into the fallout of Tony Hinchcliffe's joke
Oh
at
gosh.
Madison Square Garden. So
you
we
know
got to hit
what?
on
I
that a
mean,
little bit.
I
um,
still have not even watched it.
I think he murdered that whole set, and if you look at it as a comedic set, it played fine.
Yeah.
But the audience he had was a political rally, and they were not.
Even
I mean,
Jon
so much.
Stewart took up for him. He was like talking about how he liked Tony, and they got the Tony that they booked. Like that's what Tony does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
were you
Even Trump came out and apologized for it.
well, yeah.
I mean, he had
Trump
to.
may have
See that
denied
they
that joke, but he definitely saw that and laughed at it.
Oh, for sure.
you saw what?
I said Trump may have denied that joke and not knowing who Tony was, but he definitely laughed at that joke that night.
Oh yeah,
For
for
sure.
sure. I mean,
Hundred
it
percent.
was a
He
funny
said that
joke.
guy. That guy.
It was a funny joke. There was nothing not funny about it.
He
Like,
said,
because like it said. So if that was at like a KKK rally and somebody said that, it would be rough. Like, you'd be like, all right, that's tough.
Yeah.
But this guy is saying it in jest. Like, that's
My
the whole
one of my
at a
best friends
MAGA
is
rally.
Puerto Rican.
Yes. It was a MAGA rally.
It was, but I mean, like,
It was.
so you book people like Beyonce to come and perform and do their craft, but a comedian can't come and do their craft?
No, I'm not
So-
saying that at all.
That's the same thing, though.
But maybe.
Maybe. What do you
I don't
mean,
know.
maybe?
Maybe the
Well,
song all
Beyonce-
the
Why would
ladies.
Beyonce didn't do
comedian
anything.
to come to not do comedian things, but you
Right.
book artists from like making musicians or magicians. If you really wanted a magician to come, you could. But like
You
they're
can have
gonna
Nate
come.
Bargatze's dad come out there and pull a rabbit out of a hat.
They're gonna come and do. They're gonna come and do what they're best at. You're not gonna see Tony come out there and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, Trump's the best guy ever. He's so good on economics. I'm gay. I'm Tony
Yeah, I mean,
Hinchcliffe."
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying at a political rally it may not have been the best thing 10 days before to talk
Yeah.
about 8 million deep voting,
He didn't lose any votes because of it.
I got one of my
I'm not
best
saying.
friends is Puerto Rican, and I haven't asked him his opinion on it. I'm texting him right now to see what he thinks.
You see what he said? I want it right from the source. I want it right from the landfill. Not my words. That was his words, not mine.
Hey, I'll ask my buddy too.
Well, anyway, while y'all are asking these questions, I'm going to just riff here a little bit.
Do
So apparently this, even if this is a super close election, it's probably not going to be as close as the election of 18 and 24 between Andrew Jackson and John Quincy Adams. You know what I mean?
An election happened.
know,
Yeah, wasn't it
of which-
within like 30 votes or something? Like
It was, and also it started what was known as the 12th Amendment because John Quincy Adams got the rest of his votes because he bargained with Henry Clay, famous Kentuckian,
Yeah.
in Congress, and they elected him as president over Andrew Jackson.
Yeah, I did see that studying for this podcast that they had to do the 12th Amendment for that.
Can y'all go into the 12th Amendment? I'll be honest, I watched like 12 videos on this, and
The
it was
12th
the most
Amendment, I don't
boring
know the
thing
exact amendment, but I
I've
can hold
ever
on one
watched
second.
videos on, and I could not keep it. I've got like a list of other cool stuff because I thought this was the most boring thing ever.
The 12th Amendment is that hold on. I want it simplified. I ain't trying to read this whole daggone
Yeah.
law.
You're gonna repeal the 19th?
All right, so simplified. The 12th Amendment to the Constitution changed the way the president and vice president are elected by the Electoral College. And
Oh, okay. You could have just said it's what brought in electoral college.
Yep.
I did watch a few
I
videos
feel-
on that.
What do y'all think
I
about
was
the Electoral College? Do you think it's a very valid representation of the whole population of a country?
I mean, if you don't have it, then you got 3-4 cities in the whole country deciding the election. You
Yeah,
Los
popular
Angeles,
vote
Chicago,
usually.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you go with popular vote, you're going to have Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, yeah.
Nashville, Memphis.
They're deciding the
Nashville's
election.
not even in the equation for that.
It's like the top 4 cities. That's it.
Yeah.
And
Nashville is
2
not
of them
that
are in
big,
California.
I've realized.
New York City.
That's New York, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles. They're deciding every election every year without the electoral vote.
In Houston,
Houston's
Texas,
getting close, yeah.
Yeah, there's some Texas cities that are up there. Same with Florida cities. They're getting close, but they're not. They still wouldn't like sway it one way or the
they
other.
wouldn't sway an election necessarily.
Yeah.
I think it's all going to. This one, I think, is all going to come down to probably Pennsylvania.
So
I do too.
I was
And I spent some time in Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago and drove through I was in Pittsburgh and then went out into the country part of Pennsylvania, and I seen more Trump stores where you could go in and buy shirts with him raising his hand and hat and MAGA hats than I seen Kamala Harris signs.
So I have,
but I bet if you went to Philadelphia, it would be opposite.
Possibly.
Yeah.
So there was something that happened. I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago. Whenever the census happened, I don't know if that was last year or the year before that.
2022, I think.
So so the census even said that they messed up the census for some states. I think it was Florida that they miscounted a bunch of population, and Florida should actually have 2 more electoral votes than they currently
2020.
What it has. Yeah, that'd be 27.
Yeah.
20, I think they have 25 votes now.
And based on like
We have 8.
so I've watched a lot of poll things and whatnot, and one of the ones that I think is most unbiased said that Kamala will win. And then I was watching this other thing about the census situation. It's really she would only win if they didn't contest this census situation. So one way Trump would be 270, she would be 268. The other way, obviously opposite. He would be 270, she would be 268.
Right. It's going to be close, man. I think it's going to come
I think
down
so
to
too.
6, 7, 8 electoral votes.
Yeah.
I know that Kentucky and Tennessee ain't going to be a factor, though. They definitely going red. 8 and 11 is going to Trump. They
Yeah.
get 19 quick points real quick.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, those are layup votes for him.
Yeah. He got the whole Sun Belt. Maybe Georgia. He might have some trouble in Georgia.
Well,
So I was-
Georgia is
Yeah,
normally blue.
Yeah. Atlanta.
Yeah, well,
The most
Atlanta.
populated
decides.
city.
I was looking at this 1876 election for
Rutherford B.
seeing.
Hayes and Samuel Tilden.
Yes, and it was decided by one electoral vote,
Yep.
and that had to go all the way to the Supreme Court to figure that out. And apparently, South Carolina had 101% voter turnout during this election.
Well, that's funny because you know what else happened right after this election? The start of Jim Crow laws in the South.
Yeah, yeah, and I also wrote down here that there was 150 African Americans killed outside of the polls that year in South Carolina.
Right.
101% of voters showed up.
So, but was that the same year that African American voters were considered 3/5?
Probably, yeah, because this was directly after the Civil War.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
this is right after. And South Carolina's right. I mean, South Carolina was the first state to secede before the Civil War. I mean, South Carolina, I mean, pretty rough.
Because at that point, the United States was trying to build the South back, and this election actually stopped that.
Yeah.
The compromise of 1877 that put Hayes into office stopped the rebuilding of the South, where we tore it apart during the Civil War.
Yep. See, because Abraham Lincoln, had Abraham Lincoln not been assassinated, it would have been a whole different rebuilding of the South. It would have been because he wanted, to actually unite us and not play, this competitive, rhetoric. He didn't want all this division, and he knew that after the Civil War that the South was pretty much brought down to nothing because they didn't have that free labor. First off, off all the slaves, thank God, slavery was abolished. Terrible stuff that was taken away. So all these, you only probably had 4 or 5 huge cotton farms left, plantations left that actually were able to operate and make money. So they just took over all these little ones, like you see these corporations do now. So that's what happened. So a lot of these, communities in the South that were once okay to run after the Civil War, the whole South was destroyed. So they had no other means of making money. They didn't have industry or nothing like that. All of the railroads were torn apart. All of the waterways, there were tariffs put in place by the North because they were pissed off because the South had seceded. There was a lot of bitter feelings between the North and the South as a people. So had Lincoln not been assassinated, I think it would have been a whole different
it would have been different
after the war.
Tariff's a special word this election.
Huh?
I said tariffs is a special word this election.
But I don't think Jim Crow, like what Travis was just hitting on that election, I don't think that election ever would have happened. Like it would have been like a whole different outlook.
I think our history changes if Lincoln doesn't get assassinated.
I think so
he ends up, because it would have been a completely different process for sure.
Who do you think was behind him getting killed?
The Confederacy.
John Wilkes Booth.
I think it was I think it was still like Southern,
I do too.
trying to keep that alive because they still had plans of going to Texas and seceding again. I mean, it was a whole thing they were going to keep on trying to do, and they also had a bunch of people that left here and went to South America,
I
just
mean,
like they said that the Nazis,
Who
you're
left here and
talking.
went
This
to
was
South America?
the Confederates.
White dudes?
Yeah, whoever fought for the Confederate Army, a lot of your top brass left and went to South America.
It's like the same thing with like the Nazis, like whenever
Yeah,
they went to Africa, like Southern Africa.
yeah, same thing, I guess. Yeah, they just left and went somewhere they could, live their ways the way they were.
How
I mean,
would
you're
you do
talking
that in
this.
South
This
America
was
though? Aren't they mostly, even back then, they would still be a different color?
I don't know. I guess you go to certain areas, they could still do slavery, though. I guess they could come in and impose they could
Oh,
colonize.
you could still do slavery today in Africa if you really wanted that to be a thing.
I'm sure it is a thing.
Oh yeah,
that was
slavery is
Wes.
much more widespread
That said
today
that.
than it was back then. But yeah,
Just want to make clear that was Wes that said that you could still do the slavery today.
Did y'all
Before that's
see the
taken out.
cool?
Before it's taken out of context.
it's just stats.
Right. Yeah, it's just like baseball. It's just numbers.
It's just numbers. That's all I'm saying.
Just numbers. We're just talking numbers here.
So, yeah, I
It's
think
just numbers.
so. I know Josh asked me last week. 2000 was a big contested election, and that would have been. I had to go back and really think about this, Josh. You asked me if it was the first one I voted in, and I was
I was
like,
doing the
"Oh,
math.
I turned 18. Yes, it would have been the first one, but I don't know if it. I cannot remember actually voting in this election. Um, I don't think I voted, to be honest with you.
I remember this one because I turned 12 years old that November, because my birthday is November the 3rd. It's always
Yeah.
around election day. So I remember I turned 12 years old, and my aunt, she took me at Opry Mills had just opened, and she took me to Opry Mills for my birthday, and we went, and I remember it being all over the news because that was
Yeah.
election day that day, and it was all over the news, that Gore had won. They had
Right.
picked, he was favored at first to win, and then all that stuff happened with the hanging chads and the recount, and
Oh,
they, to recount all those machines in Florida, and it coming down to that one state.
well,
And I
yeah,
remember
and
ever since then, it's just been wild.
wasn't it nice that Jeb Bush, George's brother down there running the state of
Yeah,
Florida,
Florida. He's the governor of Florida.
and
You
then
can't tell me there wasn't something shady going on there.
so I remember it all, but I honestly can't remember if I went in and actually voted for that election. I
Yeah,
remember coming home from college, watching the news and seeing the videos of the down there checking all the stuff, listening to people talk about hanging chads and um, machines that they poke holes in. And then after this election, they did away with all that stuff where you have to manually poke the holes in there.
right.
And now it's all electronic, and now they're talking about how you can't even push the button to vote for the right person. So
That
it does
election,
take a
George Bush lost the popular vote by almost 600,000 votes.
while.
So back to what we were
I,
saying earlier about the popular votes. So I'm looking at the map now, and Bush carried pretty much every state except for the northeastern states and Illinois and California.
yeah.
So back to those big
I wrote
cities.
I wrote down here that the first count in Florida, Bush was up 1,787 votes over the whole state. That made a recount. The second time around, he was up 327 votes.
Oh, damn.
And then the third time around, it was 531 votes in the state of Florida. That's how close it was. And that one also had to end up in the Supreme Court to figure out who was going to win.
Kind of crazy too, because wasn't his. I don't know how long Jeb Bush has been like a part of Florida
Yeah, he was there.
politics. Was he there at
He
that
was the
time?
governor then. Yeah. It was a big deal. They were like, his brother, what's he doing? Yeah. There's my man. Check it out. Check it out. The hanging chads. This picture was all over the place. I remember this picture
Yeah.
so
I do
much
too.
of this guy.
I'm just wondering what kind of watch he's wearing.
Now, what I think is wild about this picture is there's clearly only one hole in it. What's he
Right.
checking out? What is he checking out so hard?
He can't believe it that it's not George W. Bush, it's Al Gore, and he's gonna make it George W. Bush.
I mean, if it was a real ballot, there would be holes like every couple centimeters.
Unless they voted strict party lines, right? You only have to punch one hole if you vote all Republican or all
Dude,
Democrat.
just imagine how different history would be if Al
Wouldn't that
Gore
be
won that
tough?
election. We never would have went to war in the Middle East.
The polar ice caps wouldn't be melting either.
That's true. He also invented the internet. Internet would be free for everybody.
For everybody.
Everybody.
But it was
we probably wouldn't have went and got Saddam Hussein for real.
you know,
I don't think that would have even been a thing. Like he wasn't friends with them. Like Saddam Hussein and Osama have been CIA agents since the 80s.
Well, George W. Bush's dad, George H.W., fought a war called Desert Storm against Saddam Hussein and got pretty much made a fool out of. So he was fighting the rest of his daddy's war.
You know, I tell my wife this all the time. When I was in 5th grade, I was in like the challenge program, which is supposed to be like the smarter kids. I don't know if they really were. I got pulled out of class. They literally took us in 5th grade to the cafeteria, turned on the TV, and we watched footage of Desert Storm. And they started talking to us about this war. I'm in 5th grade watching tanks roll across the desert shooting people.
He's like, hell
I remember
yeah.
it vividly. I'm like, what in the world are we doing?
They was getting your ass ready for in a few years. You don't get to go sign up.
Yeah, they were trying to get you riled up.
They were.
And you know, that 2000 election was like, that was all over the news, but it wasn't, you know, not very long after that, it wasn't nothing but 9/11 stuff, right? So it's less than a year later.
We were talking about the things that would have changed, but can you imagine? Well, I guess that's the same thing. Like you're talking about, like, would X and X happen if Gore would have won? Do you think 9/11 would have happened if Gore won? I don't think so either.
I feel like their plans were already in action. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't. No, I don't doubt that their plans were already in action.
If that's the case,
no matter who you think did it.
What?
I said, if they already had plans in action for that, if that's the case, what they got planned next for us now?
Exactly. Like, I mean, yeah, go vote, do your thing. I'm going to go vote tomorrow.
Do your due diligence.
I'm going to go vote tomorrow, but I don't know that it matters. I honestly don't think it does.
I think it matters to an extent, like you said. I think that I don't know, man. I don't want to sit and speculate that we aren't really a democracy either, so.
Well,
it's too easy to not be, especially in this modern age, it's too easy to not be a democracy.
Yeah.
It could be they just want to know which side everybody's on, so they know how many people they have to turn the way they want to go.
Yeah, a pretty good measure of where you're at.
Yeah.
Right.
They can already find it out, though, by looking at our algorithms on social media, like what we're into. Like, they already know what we're into.
Yeah.
Hope they ain't looking at my fucking Twitter.
Oh, dude, you're definitely, you're cooked.
I bet your For You on Twitter is probably wild.
Yeah, you're cooked. I had an algorithm the other day. I was sitting in West. It was just all car wrecks and broken bones. My whole algorithm was car crashes and broken bones.
What are you talking about?
I barely get on Twitter.
Huh?
All car crashes and broken bones. I barely get on Twitter, but Wes sends stuff on that on our group chat, and when I click on it, now my For You is all like people getting shot in the face.
He sent me that video last fall. That dude burned himself out in front of the White House. I'm like, golly, I'm about to eat supper.
Yeah, it's like all death and carnage. It's like it's all political stuff because that's what they said, and then mangled car crashes and people in third world countries shooting each other.
I know Wes is like an insurance guy, so I always try to find just nonsense, like people doing bonehead stuff on the road. And he's probably just like shaking his head, like, man, these people.
No, I'm not even shaking my head. Like, if you send me some nonsense, like stuff of people doing on the road, I've seen it. Like, it's not going to be like mind blowing for me because I've been doing this for.
Because you live close to Nashville?
Well, I've been in the instruments game for almost a decade now, so
He's in the game, dog.
I've seen the silliest stuff. I did see one earlier today. We had a goon send it to me of a dude like doing a wheelie on just like a regular bike. And like he was like he thought he'd be cool like going into oncoming traffic. Well, one
And
car
swerve.
swerved for him, and then the next one did not.
Oh, that's bad.
So we're talking about like me like us getting into like election fraud, not election fraud. I don't want to get into that. Like that who knows what's
Contested.
going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be contested one way or the other. But I
Wes,
do
it's Thursday. We already know what happened.
Yeah, we know,
I,
man.
I don't think that's going to be the case. This is coming out Thursday. I don't think that we're going to know who it is today.
I don't either, to be honest with you.
I don't think that we will know who is the president. This is the day before November 5th. But just as much as they get involved with everything that we do, so this is something that actually happened just earlier today. About 4 hours today, this news broke that there was a man arrested and charged with attempting to use a mass destruction and a weapon of mass destruction to destroy an energy facility in Nashville.
It's the
Said he,
Tesseract.
That's why my power went out today
Tesseract.
and yesterday.
well, that was Nashville,
Somebody
but
call the Avengers.
so they went on to say that this yada yada Hashim Yunus Hey Today
Let's
was
take a
the
run at that
one
again.
that was behind it. And this is from August, though. So I'm not sure where they were getting this from.
Is that him?
No, but
I was just
who it
waiting for you to
actually
throw back something.
was this guy. I didn't upload the right pictures, my bad. But it was this like 24-year-old kid in Columbia, Tennessee, that he had been being tracked by the FBI, I guess they're the ones that track us. Um, and he had bought C4 from the FBI. He had bought like from undercover agents and everything. And then he had strapped up a drone today to fly into a substation pretty much to try to disrupt the power grid. And obviously they were the ones that sold him the C4, so they shut that down pretty quick. But it's wild that they went with this Jordanian guy with like the like obviously super what do you say
Cultured name.
cultured name. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely not a white name, whatever you want to say.
It's not an American traditional name.
Yeah, I
It's
mean,
not Willoughby or Utley.
I don't know if Willoughby is up there, but hold on.
Every time I think of your last name, I think of that little Australian marsupial, a wallaby.
Wallaby. Yeah, I know. I got that a lot, to be honest. Here's the guy that they actually
That
threw in the pen for it.
looks like a goon from Find by Me podcast fan page.
I don't. Just relax.
Just saying, dude, that could be any normal dude.
Yeah, it really does just look like any dude, but his name is Skylar Felipe or something like that. But yeah, so that's the guy. He apparently has been being watched by the FBI for over a year now. He's bought C4 from them. He's bought drones from them. Supposedly all under the guise of white supremacy.
Hmm.
Which makes
I'm really shocked that nothing's like happened yet. It being like, with all the stuff that happened to Trump back in the summer and all this like obvious political division in this country and just people in their feelings and stuff. I'm surprised like nothing has been already like not that I want anything to happen, but like there hasn't already been some kind of chaos or
I don't
The
know. I
last
mean, I think that shows a difference in the parties, like the difference type of people who they are. I think also the red side is also a lot older than the blue
That's
side,
true.
so
That's
they're
true.
much less,
Violent, maybe, or energetic to do that.
yeah, much less energetic, I guess.
I won't say violent. That's not a good word.
Yeah,
More uh capacity to do things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I gotta
Well,
start reading the sources.
the last episode on you guys was the day after they nicked Trump's ear, and now I'm back. And we're about to go through an election here. I didn't think he was going to make it this far.
Yeah,
I literally didn't.
I think we all said during that episode a me and you both probably called at least one more assassination
Yeah,
attempt, but I'm pretty sure that we all agreed there might be a third if the second wasn't
and
successful.
if he
They
comes
really
out the
tighten
winner,
security down.
if he comes out the winner, I don't know if he makes it to January.
Yeah.
I think that we'll know. I think that, like I said, it's going to be a very volatile. From now till Christmas is going to be a very volatile time.
I think you got until 1st January. I think until someone's sworn in,
Yeah,
it could be
January
anything.
20th. Is that right? Is it January 20th?
Maybe you might be right.
I think that's
I think
right.
it's Jan
January
20.
20th, I believe.
So,
Yep.
like to
We'll
kind
either
of
get
like,
Lady Gaga at the inauguration, or we'll get Lee Greenwood. One of the two.
yeah,
Last time Trump was
you see
inaugurated,
the video
my
of Lady
favorite band
Gaga
played it.
getting like fucking vomited on while she banged on some drums.
What is it?
There's a video of Lady Gaga like doing some kind of performance. She's like literally getting just vomited on while she
Oh,
Ugh,
just bangs on a drum.
he's a weird creature.
gross.
Yeah, she's odd.
Who
But
are you going to see played the show at the 2016
So
inauguration?
it was my favorite band, Three Doors Down, performed there
hell yeah.
Really?
during the
I
2016
couldn't remember.
inauguration.
I was lost in the sauce back then, so
And
my memory was.
So
and
kind
they're
of
in Nashville on Friday.
Three Doors
Oh,
will?
that's cool. Are you
Yeah,
going?
with Creed. No, I think they play with Creed, and the tickets are outrageous, like every other
Oh yeah,
concert in
I like to
Nashville.
see that though.
Like
That
stupid.
that'd be a good show, man.
I would love to see
Some
Creed.
dad rock.
The fuck is this? All right, hold on. I'm gonna. We got fucking. Y'all have got to see this.
Is it about
I
time
don't know if I
for
want to.
Wes's funny video segment?
This is not going to be funny. This is going to be bad.
Oh, he's doing this one. Okay, fantastic.
I don't. This is not the video I saw. Okay, well, this is lame. All right. Well, so I'm going back to what I was talking about with this guy that got caught in Columbia, Tennessee,
Okay.
in the sense of they knew that the report that just came out like 4 hours ago was so detailed. They say that it
Time by
all
Me does not
happened.
endorse any of these flags.
Yeah, of course. This is just an image on a show,
I just
but
wanted to make
um,
that clear.
but so there was a lot of like immediately there was nothing to say that this guy, there was no manifesto, they just said this guy was all about white supremacy. And so there's a lot of people out there that whenever they see these people, I think it's True or Blood Tribe that like marches through Nashville. They march through big cities all the time,
Yeah.
and they're wearing like red shirts, black shorts, and they have I think it's usually black flags with a white swastika through it. Found it interesting on this one that this guy has this super creased flag like he
Oh,
just
that's
bought it.
brand new.
Like this thing's brand new. So there's a lot of people that are heavy on
Look at
conspiracy that
He
these
also looks
people
like
are not, they're not real. These are all like FBI. Like they're just all out there trying to spread hate within everybody's community. Like nobody knows these people. It does, like
He
That-
looks like a elementary school PE teacher.
yeah,
well,
or a
we've had
banker.
these marches come through even Nashville, Tennessee, and a lot of them. This is a different one, to be honest, because they're not wearing masks. But a lot of people in the blood tribe situation do wear masks, and they've every time they've been able to find somebody that wasn't wearing a mask in blood tribe, it's always somebody that links back to the CIA or FBI every single time. And that's why I think whatever happened today with this guy getting caught with the C4 and whatnot, I think he was probably CIA himself. And he was
I
just,
hadn't heard nothing about it, so who even knows, man? Who knows?
hey man, this is like a real Alex Jones moment. These guys are all CIA. There's no reason who who would even give these guys a permit to do this walk? Like, why are the police
Well,
walking
freedom of
them down the
speech, man.
street? It is
You
free
can.
speech. I mean, I get it, but they don't have this kind of protection at other things.
I don't know, man.
I
I
didn't
don't
I
know.
didn't think you could buy rebel flags anymore.
You absolutely can.
Oh,
I mean, you just saw a Nazi flag or a
I'm sure you can
swastika.
Yeah,
buy anything you want. I'm sure somebody sells it.
they are.
I mean, I'm all about that money, dude. I'll sell it to you if you want it.
That's what
And
you
they
call
don't.
spreading hate. That's what you call spreading hate. You're just complicit. You're just as bad as the dudes. I don't know if you're just
But
as bad
yeah,
as the
no, I
dudes.
I saw this. I saw this earlier today. Obviously, like this just happened like within 4 or 5 hours of us even recording this, and then like I went down the rabbit hole of why are like Nordic signs like associated with white supremacy and whatnot. There's not a whole lot. There's just like there's a lot of people that say that it's a big part of white supremacy, but there's like I don't think it's as believed as a lot of people think. You can be a Viking if you want to be, and you don't have to be a white supremacist. What I'm saying.
Well, if you want to really go by what Vikings really were, they weren't the most savory of people anyway. So,
The Vikings probably never saw somebody of a different color.
well, I mean, wherever if they did, they didn't last very long.
Yeah, I mean they just killed everybody.
They killed everybody. They didn't
Oh,
discriminate.
Yeah, yeah,
too bad.
If you
Too
had
bad
what they
Nick's not here.
wanted, you had to go.
yeah. We just want food, women, and water.
Gold, gold.
And,
They
yeah,
like
gold and probably a little bit of booze.
they love gold.
It's
They
I
drink
bet my
gold.
paycheck.
mead.
I bet my paycheck Nick has a Viking helmet at his house. So I'm a little sad on this one.
I think he does.
He
I'm sure
probably.
he would have ran off and got it when y'all started talking about Vikings. He would have come back with it on.
Hopefully,
So,
whenever he gets into his new place, we have like an actual like set studio that we can decorate and
hey,
have like cool stuff.
Well, I mean, yeah,
That's the that's the goal.
that's the plan. I mean, we've got a pretty neat little situation at his garage, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
well, it's finally getting to the point of the year where it's like cool enough to be out there without
To be
like,
yeah,
comfortable and cozy and not be out there just having a hard time breathing.
yeah,
well,
when
we
we were
do
in there with the ag dude, it was hot.
It was like 100 degrees that day.
It was warm. Like I was sweating.
we do a men's group for on Friday nights out there in his shop, and it's just now getting tolerable where you can sit and not need 7 fans blowing on you. So I know exactly what
We
you're talking
didn't
about.
even have any fans going that day. Like,
Yeah, and y'all were inside the shed
yeah.
inside the building. Yeah,
Yeah, I was thinking I was like, is there any way that we could have a fan blowing? I was like, no, they don't fuck up everything audio wise. I'm proud that the audio came out as good as it did for
yeah,
that show, to
it
be
did.
honest. Josh was there, he was our audio guy, so
Yeah, I'm
Audio.
I'm I'm proud of how far Fine by Me podcast's production value has went up over the last year.
Man, our graphics and everything have gotten better.
Everything been pretty
Hey,
good.
man, like I was telling Chris today, I said I can't imagine not doing this podcast ever. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like I'm constantly thinking of stuff to do with it. You know,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's probably good for your mental status too, right? You get a chance to talk about stuff, get stuff off your brain, communicate to other people.
Keeps your mind going. I mean, like, I know, especially like Travis. Like, I know that you're in a group chat with us or whatever, but we get, me and you both are in like a corporate reality that we live in, and it's like you don't really get to say just whatever you want to all the time.
For sure.
So to be able to have like a group of people that you can just say whatever to, and knowing that if you say something crazy, they know that you're just trying to get a laugh.
Right.
Like, you don't have an HR department to deal with. Like, it's not.
Yeah, I couldn't operate.
Nothing that we do is malicious. It's just us trying to have a big time. Like, that's all there is to it.
Yeah. Couple giggles, man. Keep you sane.
Yeah.
People don't laugh enough anymore, that's for sure.
We're gonna keep on growing it, baby. Gonna keep on growing it.
I hope so. I'm gonna be here until it's fucking in the dirt. You know what I'm saying?
We ain't doing the dirt. We going to the stratosphere. You better
check out that new TikTok page.
Yeah, check out the TikTok page. We got a Patreon that
we're going to start. Yeah, I'm working on
off.
Patreon right now. We'll maybe do this week sometime. We're going to be, this is already going to be coming out. So hopefully you watched the live election night with us.
Yeah, hopefully you did. Hopefully I made it and I'm not dead.
I'm going to pop in for a little while for sure. If we get some chat going, maybe I'll stay for a little while.
Yeah, if we got some chat going, I'm going to stay in there for a couple hours, probably myself.
You probably won't get a couple hours out of me, but I'll hang in there as long as I can pay attention.
Yeah. If y'all are in it, I'm in it. And
it's just the truth. I may pop in for a while, take a break, and pop back on.
Hell yeah, brother.
I mean, I may eat a little dinner in between, watch some stuff, get a little crazy, drink some coffee, get back on. I don't know.
Again, guys, we already know who won at this point.
Yes.
I don't think we do.
So maybe all this stuff you're hearing now.
If we do, I'll be surprised.
It's coming to fruition.
Hey, we're still live on Facebook because the election's not over with, and it's Thursday.
It's been running for 51 hours now. 51 hours.
Passion of the Christ 2 is coming out in the next few months.
What is?
Passion of the Christ 2.
Oh, Happy Gilmore is coming out the end of this month, I think, around Thanksgiving.
John, the same dude that did the first one, I think, that played Jesus, is playing Jesus.
Oh yeah, he's in that movie about the trafficking and stuff that's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, John something, right?
Yeah, John Krasinski. I'm just kidding. That's not him.
Yeah.
Remember whenever Nick had this whole thing about how like Ted Kaczynski was maybe related to John Krasinski?
Is John the dude from The Office?
Yes. And yeah, Nick was like, "Is he related?" Because we did this thing with the Unabomber, and he's like, "Is that the dude from The Office's cousin?" And I was like, "It's totally spelled totally different. It's not even the same last name. It's Kaczynski, Krasinski."
He had to change his last name to be famous because he didn't want to be associated with Zunk.
True, man. He just took an R out of there, or he just added an R. Yeah. He added a hard R in the middle of it. Well, y'all got anything else? I think we're at a good stopping point for this episode.
I think we're good.
We got him on the hard R.
We want to thank our guest, Travis Utley.
Tomorrow, and I'll see the listeners next week. And yeah,
thank you, Travis, for coming on.
Big time. Nick. Thank you, Nick.
Is he there in your house? Is he in your house? Is that where he's been all week and not Costa Rica? He's just there?
Yeah, he's been in the Melissa doesn't actually exist. I don't know if y'all knew that or not.
Never know about that guy.
I just been supporting his habit. All right. See you guys fucking later. Fine by me. Nation, baby. West Coast,